Our countdown to kickoff coverage continues, and we head out to Dallas, Texas with Carlos Mendez of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. You know, Dez Bryant has been in the news throughout the offseason and throughout minicamp with all these limitations and curfew and all this stuff, security guards having to basically drive him to practice. I mean, what is the mentality on this guy throughout camp and in the locker room?
Well, the Cowboys think he's going to be fine as long as he can have a little structure around him, whether that's a teammate or a veteran, kind of a mentor type, you know, even an advisor outside the team, someone who can kind of be with him and just kind of show him the ropes on the way to maturity. You know, Dez had a really tough background growing up. He didn't have a father around. His mother was in jail part of the time. He lived from house to house with relatives, sometimes even coaches on the team. So he didn't have a lot of structure growing up. Not a lot of that, you know, that sense of discipline around him. So it's taken him a little bit longer to mature than, you know, a 23-year-old might at this point in his life. But the Cowboys think he'll be fine once he's around football, once he's around a structure, once he's around people who relate to him football-wise, off the field-wise. So that's what they're hoping from here.
Carlos, there's a lot of injuries with the wide receivers, and again, Laurent Robinson is not there. He went to Jacksonville in the offseason. So let's start with Miles Austin. He has a hamstring injury. Will he be ready by week 1, or do you think he'll be out a few weeks?
No, he's going to play against the Giants. He's now, from there, who knows what happens. He's got very tricky hams, maybe the tightest in the world, apparently. So we'll see how long he lasts. You know, last year he played the first 2 games, but in that San Francisco game, in which he scored 3 touchdowns, by the way, he went out with a hamstring injury late in the fourth quarter, wasn't available in overtime, wound up missing 6 games.
So let me ask you this from a fantasy football perspective. We have many in our audience who play fantasy football. Would you stay away from Miles Austin this coming season?
I would for a while. He's going to get plenty of balls if he's healthy. He's going to be Romo's primary target, especially with Jason Witten being down for at least a game, maybe 2. But, you know, Miles Austin just doesn't have that history that you can bank on to stay on the field.
You just answered my next question about Jason Witten, who obviously has a lacerated spleen, yet will play in what seems like maybe week 2 or 3. But now we go to Dez Bryant, an ankle injury. What's the latest on him?
Dez's ankle is fine. The problem he had lately in the preseason game against San Diego, coming out of it, was a patellar tendonitis in his right knee. That's basically jumper's knee that basketball players get. And it just comes from, you know, wearing down of the cartilage. And it just gets a little bit tough, and you just have to kind of rest it. The problem is that Dez can't sit still. If he's not playing football, he's playing basketball. He's constantly active. And so the coaches are really trying to, you know, work with him to kind of get into a routine for football, which is to practice, play, rest. Practice, play, rest all year. That's one of those structure things we're talking about, where he's trying to learn to be a pro.
What about the running backs, Carlos? I mean, DeMarco Murray, he missed the 2008 National Championship game because of an injury. Last season, he had another injury as a rookie. And then you turn to Felix Jones. He was injured last year as well. I mean, if these guys stay healthy, their running attack can be so good. But do you think that they can remain healthy for a full season?
I think so. You know, DeMarco does have an injury history, but it's a little bit fluky, and he really hasn't missed as much time as you might think if you look over his career. The injury he suffered last year, a broken ankle, that happens when a guy falls on him the wrong way. It's the same kind of tackle you see hundreds of times throughout the year, but sometimes it just happens that way.
Right.
In fact, it happened in the Chargers game to one of their receivers when he was tackled in the end zone scoring a touchdown. So it's kind of a fluky thing. Maybe some guys have bad luck. But I think DeMarco Murray will stay healthy this year. He's really strong, and he really has a good feel for running the ball in the pro game. And in a lot of cases, he's as strong or stronger than some of these guys trying to bring him down.
This defense was incredibly, you could say, middle of the pack if you average out against the run and against the pass. Against the pass, they were 23rd. Against the run, they were top 10. Now, they also allowed, you could say, middle of the pack in points allowed as well. Do you think that their defense will be that much better this year and can lead them to some significant victories?
I do think the defense will be better this year. In fact, I think it'll be the best part of their team, which is saying something considering how well Romo can play and what kind of weapons he has to use. But the defense really upgraded itself at the cornerbacks. They've got two new cornerbacks there. Brandon Carr, who was their top free agent target, the top cornerback available in free agency, and Morris Claiborne, who just happened to be the top defender available in the draft.
Sure.
Those are really, really significant upgrades at cornerback, and they showed in training camp.
You know, Carlos, drafting a Morris Claiborne I thought was personally huge because, you know what, the Cowboys are always going to get those big games, whether it's Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, Monday night. We're going to see a lot of them no matter where you are in the country. And from what I saw in the past seasons, they had a pretty good defense, but their corners were just awful. I mean, when you think of the likes of Terrence Newman, among many others, it seems like with Morris Claiborne and Brandon Carr, their defense is going to be that much better. Is this the big hole that they had going into this season that they had to fulfill?
They had two huge holes going into the offseason, the offensive line and the secondary. They addressed the offensive line with a couple of kind of middle-of-the-road journeyman free agents in Mackenzie Barnadoe and Nate Livings to plug in at guard. They didn't address center at all. So that remains a problem, but they did choose to go after the secondary, plug in two new corners, draft a safety, sign a safety, Rodney Poole, who they eventually got rid of because he just didn't work out. So they really, really put an effort into the secondary because that is what they need to beat Eli Manning, who just shredded them in 2 games last year, if you remember watching those 2 games. They thought that was more of a priority than the offensive line, which is where I would have gone personally by grabbing David DeCastro in the draft, maybe Peter Collins. You could have picked up 2 positions there. But they chose secondary, and that's fine. So I do expect them to have an improvement there.
A few more questions for you. I got a pair of them. Personally, I always hear a lot of criticism regarding Tony Romo, and I want to get your take on this because obviously you follow the team day in, day out. Do you think the criticism and criticisms of him are warranted, or do you think that people are just being way too harsh on the guy?
Well, he is the quarterback. He is going to get credit and discredit for the team's performance, but he really is very low on the list of problems for this team. Quarterback play, with the outside of 2 games last year, was superior for this squad. You know, he had that turnover on the run in the opener at the Jets that turned the game around.
Yep.
Not to mention the interception, which he admits was a mistake in the 4th quarter. And then he had those 3 almost unexplainable turnovers in the second half against the Lions. In a game they led 27-3. They would have been 3-1 coming out of that game, and somehow lost a 24-point lead. But when you take out those 2 games and you consider what he played through to get out of the San Francisco game with a punctured lung, and the way he finished the year with 31 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, his best of his career, and remember that he's going to go into his 6th full year as a starter, he's really primed to be at the peak of his career for the next 2, 3, 4 years. He's 32 now. This is about the window that Jerry Jones is talking about with him, and they are really going to invest in protection for him in the line and who he's throwing to. So the Cowboys don't have any problem with Tony Romo, aside from what the fans think. They believe they're going to get superior quarterback play out of him.
Do you believe, though, that they'll get superior quarterback play out of him? Do you think this will be the best year of his career?
I do. I think it'll be the best year of his career. Jason Garrett and everyone else around him, from all accounts, say he is seeing things, understanding things, mentoring the players around him better than they ever have seen him. Like I said, I think he's probably entering the peak of his career. He might have the 3 best years of his life coming up.
All right, could be a fantasy sleeper right there, and I'm certainly rooting for him. Eastern Illinois boy. I'm from Chicago myself, as you'll be able to see. I'm wearing a Bears shirt right now. Let me ask you very quickly, last question of our interview. We do this with everyone. The over-under with Cowboys is 8.5 wins. What do you say to that, Carlos?
I'm going to take the under, but it's a close call. I think the offensive line is going to keep them from reaching their potential, but I do think the defense is going to help them stay in games far longer than they did last year. You know, the Cowboys had about, Romo talked about this, he said they had about 8 games that came down to the last possession or a last play, and he said, you know, we lost about 4 of those, we won about 3 or 4 of those. He said, what we've got to do is keep those games from coming down to the last possession. So that's true. If you can do that, obviously you're going to help yourself. It'll be interesting to see how many plays or how many games Romo is on the field when the game is decided for either the last play or the defense is on the field. But that's the way it'll break down for the Cowboys. I think they're an 8-8 team.